right, guys, well, listen, we're short some people here. Let's take attendance because we need to get these people on track, right? Today I wanted to use today as a catch up. Sorry about that. You know, because I wanted, this is a good time. We kind of, you know, I don't want to say mid-course, but basically, you know, we've had a good month since we had that you know, breakout where we were talking how everybody was doing and everybody's giving me their heads up. That's when I was, I think, in the Dominican we did it, but it's a good time to do it again. We have obviously some great stuff to cover today, but I definitely want to kind of do a pause here to see what exactly are you guys doing? What exactly are you guys implementing into your systems and how that works? How is that working for you guys? Or, you know what? I haven't done it, but let's talk about why you haven't done it as well. This is a good time to really be, you know, open-minded and let us know where you guys stand. All right. So we'll go start with here because we have Kylie and we have Kay. And then from there, we'll jump on screen of the Zoom class. Okay. Let's start with you, Miss Kay. What have you done that you can say obviously from our discussions, what have you added or maybe taken out, or what have you put into your systems to you know, continue with the process of what we've been discussing?
My daily routines, I've been trying to stay on, you know, like our little sheet that we made up of, you know, checking this, doing this, you know, making sure that, you know, I've been falling off on the market reviews now, you know, unfortunately, and I did get a response to one, Glenn, thank you.
There we go. Did you guys hear this? You got a response on a market review.
Yeah, and it was funny because, you know, some of them I had a lot of good detail and everything, and this one market review, I had one house on the market review, and I sent it anyway, and I just had a little handwritten message on the bottom that said, you know, there's not a lot, you know, right in your neighborhood that sold this past year, but, you know, if you guys ever decide to do something, you know, we'll tighten those numbers or we'll look outside the box or whatever. And then I got a call from them a couple of weeks later about a property they were interested in. So I met with them last week and we talked about what they needed to do to get their house ready. And then, you know, we're putting a search together for what they wanted. So yeah, I mean, it worked, but I need to get back on those, but, you know, like the daily routines, you know, because I've gotten just a little bit busier, you know, with some of the stuff that I wanted to doing, I haven't made the time to do.
Good time management.
Okay, you have been on fire as far as business goes. You get 2 listings and 2 went through this weekend. She had to get creative on another deal. She's got 2 buyers and then she's got another buyer. She's got like momentum built on momentum on all these different pieces that she's working on, which I think is fantastic.
Now, what we're looking at, right, is increase in business, but then at the same time, the other factor of being really busy is what? Not having the time or not managing your time to continue to work on your business. So remember, this is key, guys. As volume starts increasing, as in this case, Kay's she's, as Brent just mentioned, she's had some deals come through. She's got listings, she's got buyers. But that's where the rubber meets the road. That's where you really have to be like, okay, hold on a second. I can't get back into this vicious cycle of, man, I'm only going to focus on what I have in front of me right now at this very moment, because then what happens? You don't continue to prospect. You don't continue to work. You don't continue to send out those market reviews. You don't continue to, because you're focusing your energy and your time on these deals in front of you. That's the key. This is such a great topic to talk about because we're seeing it firsthand from a fellow agent of her success, but also that success is also pushing her into only that bubble and not giving her the time to really, you know, manage her time and manage, you know, her business, right? So in this particular case, right, so let's use this as our case study. Where does your, you know, at this very moment, if you know, with your daily schedule, how are you seeing it? Like, are you seeing it that it's just taking you off through the whole day, and by the time you get home, you're like done? Or is it like, wow, you know, I'm working on this and you're just kind of getting your ducks in order for these deals? how are you seeing that, and how can we look at building this into, now that you're in that bubble of business and the activity, how do we work on making sure we align it, right? What do we need to do to align it? What do you think you need to see yourself saying, okay, I don't want to get caught up in this. What do I need to do? Do I need to separate a day or a couple hours in that day to say, look, I know I got all this stuff going on, but at the same time, I need to spend time on my future business and my cultivation and my business implementation and continue that cycle. And that's the only way, guys, this is the only way it's going to work, because this is a prime example of what success, which is obviously awesome and we're excited about it. But this is also the other turn of events in our business that we get caught up in that funnel, and we don't look to try to prospect the future business, right? So ideally, in a schedule, and if you had to break this through time or hours in a day, right? You want to still at least conquer 1 hour of out prospecting and out in doing your normal, if I didn't have this business, what would I be doing right now? You know what I'm saying? Because that's how you should look at it, guys. Yes, you have a pipeline. Yes, you got business, but how about if you didn't have that? What would you be doing right now? Right? What would you be implementing to really continue that ball to continue to roll down, right? Moving that ball 1 yard at a time. I always like using that because it doesn't have to be big leaps, just 1 yard at a time. What do we need to do, right? My advice or my suggestion is definitely continue to try to schedule at least 1 hour, even though you're busy, but just try to focus at least 1 hour per day to focus on your prospecting, your market reviews, because again, you got one response. That's awesome, right? So with that being said, we know it works. Yeah, it works. So let's not stop the momentum. Let's keep going. Let's turn in that one, return, right? Or that callback, or that, return. Let's make it another one, right? Let's start looking at the dynamics and the numbers. So how many market reviews did you send out? 10. Okay. 10 market reviews were sent out. She got 1 response. What's that return on your investment on marketing? 10%, which is freaking huge.
Oh my God.
It's unheard of numbers if you look at it that way. It's unheard of numbers. Imagine if she did another 10 now. She has the proof that if she sends out 10, she's going to get 1 back. If she would send out another 10, technically she would get another 1 back.
And usually those are 2 transactions because you're working with a seller.
Exactly. Did you guys hear that? It's normally 2 transactions off of that. Why? Because you're working with both the seller and the buyer at that point. Because she's getting returns, those responses from sellers.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Julie.
Whenever you send out a market update to people, how do you do that?
Well, Lynn helped me. There's it's basically similar to your CMA, but there's certain things you don't put in there, and you just do kind of a broad search. You don't try to market there or do the comparisons like apples to apples. You just do kind of a general, this is what's happening in your neighborhood kind of thing. And then what I did is I put the notes on there too. It's a handwritten message on the bottom of the form. And I just said, there's a letter that goes along with it. All that information with you guys, but there's a letter that we sent with it, but then there's also just handwritten verbiage that I put on there, like, hey, it looks like the neighborhood's been, going really well. If you have any questions, give me a call. So that was where, I just tried to add, and I hand wrote the envelope, so I wanted to make sure that they knew I put some effort into it. I didn't want them to think I was just, hitting a button, printing something and then sending it on its way,
And do you mail it or do you pop by and drop it off?
I mailed it. And then what I wanted to do that I failed to do was actually following up with them, by just a quick message or a phone call, just saying, hey, this is in your mailbox or it's on the way. Call me if you have any questions.
Okay, just so we're clear, who are you sending those to? Past clients?
That's fine.
So that's why she has that information, okay? It's for past clients, but that doesn't mean you can't go use that same system in a farming platform. In other words, if you pick a subdivision, right, you can send that information out there as a letter, say, hi, how are you? just wanted to let you know your market's really hot in your area. You know, you can even say, look, I have several buyers that are very interested in your area, whatever. But you can still use that same format in a farming situation. She is using it for her past client base, which is a great way to stay in touch or stay in tune, right? So if that system has showed already a 10% success rate for 10 letters that are sent out.
I've got a real estate review PowerPoint on exactly how to do it and how to go into the MLS and do the whole thing. So I'm going to send that to you guys right now.
He's sending that right now, guys. This is to farm, okay?
And one of the
Okay,
things-
got a question.
Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, did you put a return address on there? I've heard two different ideas about that. Either putting one on or not putting one on.
Because it was my past clients, I did, but I know what you're talking about, because I've heard the same thing, you know, just to, some people have said they don't. I think Mike Leaker said he doesn't put a return address, so he hopes that people open things up, you know, so. But these I just did because it was people I knew.
Okay,
And guys, you guys could always put a return address as in, it's K Robert, you know, or the return address saying K Roberts, 1584 Smizer Station Road. You don't have to put Remax on there. You can literally just put your business address and your name. People are gonna inquire what that's about.
Or your home address.
You could, I mean, if you chose to, I would probably just use your business address and just put, you know, your name, and it you don't have to have Remax Gold on there. But again, even she's doing it for past clients. I want to reemphasize it. This is a good campaign to use if you're trying to farm a subdivision. Please, you can. Brent just sent that out to you guys. You guys can do that, okay? Any questions so far what we just learned from Kay? It's awesome stuff. All right, Kylie, what are you doing here to, you know, modify or implement into your systems of your business?
I started talking to more people within my sphere about engaging in real estate, like
Okay.
the soccer club. We hosted a fundraiser, so I got to go to like every table, and I sponsored a round as a real estate agent. So I got to talk to everyone. And they're like,
Nice.
oh, you're in real estate. Wow. So I handed out some cards and did a little bit more of that, engaging more with the soccer side of my database.
Okay.
That's
all
one of your
like-
biggest things right now is because you are seen as over here and now you're doing
Yeah.
real estate. So as much as you can do that, all of a sudden those connections are just made.
Yeah.
because You already know these people.
Yeah, and they see me on social media and they're like, oh, your video was funny, or that was cute. And
Yeah.
I was like, well, sit down and talk with me and I can tell you more. And that was nice to do that a little bit.
Kylie, would you say how many people are in your database? We talked about this before, just remind me again.
The soccer
Yeah.
club has like 400.
So she's got 450, and I wouldn't say code leads. These are actually addresses, phone numbers, emails, names. So you got Carol admitting. So Kylie, I think this is where, again, today's conversation is the rubber hits the road, right? Where are we? What are we doing? Everything we've been talking about, are we putting it to good use, right? Are we putting it into in the process? You really need to work on that 400 people. You got to get out there and start sending a letter of introduction, sending something, but you have to start hitting it out. You know, you can start with maybe 10 a week, right? What are you doing? 10 a week when you go to your past clients? Or were you doing 10 a day, or what were you doing?
The intention was 10.
So the intention was 10 a week.
Well, actually, I think I wanted.
A new station alert has arrived.
I don't know. What's that? What was that? Anybody who had the radio on? All right. So Kylie, you gotta highly put time into this. You gotta do it. Start with 10 a week. You can get down. Joe, this is your accountability time with your accountability partner, Joe.
We already talked about this.
Well, you
I'm
gotta
not
get
gonna
it
highlight
done.
what he did because he did something great, but I'm gonna do what he did.
All right, well, you need to get it done, okay? We need to show a turn. Joe, hold her accountable. Today's Wednesday. By Monday, she should have 10 done and gone. All right, Kylie?
okay, sure.
Come on, Joe. But guys, we need to start putting these things into play here. We got to get them in the game little by little.
Well, and a lot of what we've been talking about, and I think everybody, almost everybody, we've talked about the Jared James system. And there's two reasons why the Jared James system makes sense. and Julia and I had this conversation. There was a person a couple of doors up that had listed their house, and obviously that always makes you feel bad because they should have known to list with you. And then we start talking about how can we get them to know that you're an agent. The great thing about the Jared James system, first of all, it comes with scripts and everything else, but if you're in your area, let's say we're Julia, and you want everybody to know that you're an agent, best way to do that is get in, notify you, get a notification going with the MLS. It notifies you exactly when that listing comes out in your area. And then you send out that letter that says, hey, Kylie's home went for sale for $356,000 on such and such an address. And why am I sending you this? Oh, by the way, this might have changed the value of your home. And then if you're interested in that, I'd love to talk to you about where you fit into the market. Okay, so that does two things. One is it means that you're always tagged into whatever's going on in that neighborhood. So they're seeing, hey, it's Jose. It's Jose again. I'm not listing with Jose, but Jose knows I'm here. So that's number one. But number two is, like with Kay, if you get one person out of that, you've just shaken out some people in that neighborhood of the neighborhood you want to be in. So there's nothing to lose on it. And here's the reason why I've been a broken record on that system. It's a silo. Once you set it up and you put your notification in and you do your EDDM letter, that goes. You can do 3 or 4 other things, but that one just stays on its own and goes. And you got the scripts and everything else that goes with it. It's ready-made. And for all of you that we've talked about, we do need to do that because that's a silo system that you just need to be a part of.
Automated.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, what did it cost you to send out those last 10 letters?
58 cents a piece. Postage.
$5.80.
Yeah, $5.08, and then
This postage is exactly 50 cents now. 55. It's 58 cents.
We all need something forever and forever stamps.
and they keep forever rising. But
We have them.
58 cents per mail out. That's literally $5.80 to get a return call or return response. I think that's a great return on investment. Wouldn't you say? That's where the reality is coming into play, guys.
Well, the other good thing too is that once, the more people that you're in contact with, then they start being your advocate. They're the ones that I have a seller right now that, they've been on my mailing list for 10 years and I work with their family and now their house is on the market. We got it under contract. Their neighbor across the street wants to sell. And this guy's in the landscaping business. He's cutting grass for somebody that wants to put her house on the market. He's like, well, hey, you have an agent yet? I have a great one. Let me tell you about it, So all of a sudden he's my marketing person, because he's spreading the word for me. So it's like that snowball effect, and it's just, it's fun when it works.
Yeah.
That's when it doesn't, but it's fun when it works.
All right, guys, and all right, so Joe, let's go to you.
Yep. All right, so talk to Kylie about some of this, but so one thing is I did get my CRM pushed up into Booge. It worked. And then I sent out my first newsletters. So I kind of tweaked them a little bit and then sent them out. Didn't completely customize them, but just a little bit. And then sent them out. I got one response from a high school friend. He invited me over for dinner. So, which I haven't talked to him in 20 something years. And then just last night, I got a text from one of my ex-coworkers who wants to pick my brain about what she can do with her porch. She wants to fix up her porch and she told me she would pay me. I was like, no, I'm not going to take any money. But she sent me over some pictures and she's getting my advice on what she wants to do with her porch. I asked her what she was fixing up her porch for. And she said, well, maybe down the road, 5-6 years, I might want to sell my house. So, but she's got a bunch of friends and she's being kind of my champion. She's like, I love your website. What are you doing with all those listings? I was like, oops, I don't have any listings. So I explained to her that, it blows in all your office's listings into your website. She loved it. She thought all the social media was great. The videos are great. She loved that I was on YouTube. She thought this was all cool. So she's now retired. But so it's actually starting to work a little bit.
Joe, Joe, one of the things I wanted you to share is when you sent that newsletter out, you had 29% of your emails bounce back. Then what did you do?
Yeah, I had 29% actually. It was, I think like 24 emails total or something like that. But anyway, I had 29% kicked back to me because I looked at the analytics. And so I've been IMing them all on Facebook. So I've been friending them on Facebook. They accept my friendship and then I IM them. And they answer almost every one of them is answering and giving me their home address, their new telephone number, their new email address. So, and they're answering the IMs, whereas like with an email or a text, they won't necessarily answer. So it's working. So it's kind of cool.
I thought, Joe, that was really smart because a lot of times you see the 29% number and you say, oh, that was bad luck. You actually just went in and said, okay, I'm going to start contacting all those people. And I think you said you had all but one that you were getting the messages back. And those people now are new and engaged with you and know what you're doing, which is fantastic.
Exactly. So that's actually working. I'm going to be in May joining the neighborhood trustees, of which they have a Facebook page here in for this neighborhood. You have to be invited in. It's a private page. And I've been advertising on that page. And now one of the other trustees has asked me to fill in for the half a year and then actually be a full-fledged trustee come January. So in May, I'm going to become a trustee. So that kind of puts me up front to everybody here in this neighborhood. So that's kind of awesome. And I can advertise for free on the Facebook page as well. And then I'm going to host, I think in the fall, a fishing derby because we have a little lake, a little pond in the neighborhood. And they have a big fall festival party. So I think I'm going to host a fishing derby in the fall. So I think that should work out.
Hey, you're definitely hitting all the right areas there, Joe. You know, you're surrounding your neighborhood. Hey, Neil, were you saying, are you having trouble hearing us or Joe in this case?
It was when Kay was talking. There was a lot of reverberation, maybe too many laptops going at once, but I can hear you fine, and it hasn't been an issue since.
Okay, good. So, you know, since we're now on you, Neil, let's go straight to you since we have other people that have joined our call now. So you're on deck.
What's the question again?
Question is, Neil, what have you done so far since you've been taking this course? What have you been implementing into your systems, right? What have you modified or or even, hey man, I haven't done anything. You know, what is it that we need to do to kind of get you back on the wheelhouse, man?
I think probably for me, the biggest thing is reevaluating priorities and focusing more on short-term, high-impact projects rather than the long-term seed planting strategies. So I think the property reports is a clear priority for me now. Start getting those out. And I've already been doing a lot of neighborhood cultivating of relationships here in the DeBoliver area, getting involved with the neighborhood associations and all kinds of crazy stuff going on over here. But so really for me, that's, you know, the key is I need to focus on higher impact projects.
Okay, so mailers, right? We talked about the letters or the marketing, market reports, and you know, even the again, going back to farming. If you don't have a strong database, going out there and farming that neighborhood, as you said earlier, Neil, very important. But the activity level, as you said, you know, the long-term business you always have to work on. But again, you still got to focus on that interim, right? That short, I don't call it short term, I call it interim, because you got to start gauging and literally shaking hands and kissing babies, man, to get that production up. So, okay. So that's good, Neil. We definitely want to do that. Kristen, how about you?
I'm sorry I'm late for this. It's actually a good reason. And it kind of fits into what we're talking about here. So I'm late because I went to the Y this morning and was leaving and I ran into this lady, was talking with her. It was a new Y for me and she was showing me around the Y. In any event, the point is, she is my around the corner neighbor. I don't know her. Her husband died last year and she's ready to list her condo in the next 3 months. Okay, so she says, hey, do you have a business card on you? Well, I'm at the pool at the Y and I don't have a business card, but I got her address and I used my drop-off thing that I'm going to share with whoever comes tomorrow for it. And it's going to be perfect. And she was going to go with Tyler Olson. And I am really in the running, I know for sure.
All right.
That's also why I look like this. I just got back.
It's a good story.
That's a good story. That's a good deal. All right, now, going back to you, Kristen. What have you done so far upon, obviously, what modifications or have you entered any modifications into your business or implemented anything in your business to, of what we've discussed over the past meetings?
I modified my Remax Gold website a little bit. I modified my KristenKaufman.com website earlier this week. Don't go out there. It's got basically nothing. It's all about the city of St. Louis. I migrated. I've got new leads that came in from Zillow. I'm putting them into Booz right now in the process of that so I can utilize the automated email system. And that's about it, I think, that's related to this exact class.
Okay. Ms. Carroll?
Yep.
Same thing with you, ma'am. Have you done anything? Have you implemented anything with respect to what we've been working on here in this course?
Jose, usually I do the ninja thing rather than, I didn't get on the Jared James thing. I just found, through the years of being in this business that I don't want to get into too many different strategies about how to do things. So I like the way that Ninja has worked for me in the past, and I'll continue to do that. So I always send out my birthday wishes. I always do my 2 things a day, my notes to people. I always work the Facebook thing. Jamie and I did update my website, so we were good there, but Jamie and I have not gotten together again. So it's kind of a weird time going on, I think, I don't know how Jamie's doing, but I'm having a weird time. At any rate, just working, writing contracts, getting some accepted, not getting some accepted, dealing with a horrible situation at a listing right now. And other than that.
If you don't mind, let's pick your brain on this horrible listing situation, because it'd be nice to hear, obviously we're going to deal with stuff like this, but what's going on?
Well, basically, I've known this guy for a long, long time, and I went in and he had a bathroom in the lower level. And I noticed that there was the electrical panel was also located in the lower level bathroom. And I said, this is going to be a problem. We really should address it. And what I think that we should do before we list the house is that we should get St. Louis County over here to do our occupancy inspection and see just exactly what needs to be done. Said, be painfully truthful about everything on your disclosure. He's lived in the house for a long, long time, and he's not stupid. So basically, we got to the situation. I can't talk to you right now. Basically, we got onto the situation. We got a contract right away, and he wanted to list it. He wanted to get it on. He said he'd deal with anything. Got a really clean contract. It wasn't an issue. And he was really pretty honest about most things that he knew about, at least the things that I could see visually he was honest about. But it came to pass that, oh no, his plumber was incorrect. You can't have that electrical panel in the bathroom. And of course, when county came in, they told him he can't have it there. And that's not a big problem because you can turn that into just a regular box, seal it up, and just move that whole thing to the, 2 feet away outside the door of the bathroom. But what happens now is that you got to have a new electric meter installed. You've got to have all the wiring from the pole coming into the house updated and changed. He may have to move the mast. So it's blossomed. And we're dealing with it. We're still negotiating. Buyer still wants the house. Everybody's willing because he's not supposed to ask for anything that's any individual item that's under $2,500. So, we're working through all that, and it's an extension. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of being very calm and patient and work through all the issues. And we'll get there. I'm sure we'll get there. And I'll still keep the listing, even if we lose the client. We'll rip out the bathroom and be done. Because it's also not vented. So, hello, thank you very much. Can we just keep going on and add a little bit?
I think you and your son need to talk about stuff. Joe's Homes. I mean, I'm sure you can help out.
I don't think he wants to move the electrical panel.
I don't want any part of that. No.
Yeah, thanks. I love you too, baby.
That's awesome. All right. Well, I appreciate you giving us also a rougher side of a transaction.
Well, and Carol helps. And Carol, bringing up the Ninja program, those who don't know, that's one of the better programs out there. I think, we've got the Momentum program, there's Ninja, but the great thing about all these different things we're talking about is, like we were talking about in business growth last week, find your system, make it your system so that you can shadow yourself and understand what that system is, so that it takes a little bit of the pain out of the day, knowing what you're doing and how you're doing it. It becomes your system.
I'm also working on CE, so that's
Yeah.
that's being accomplished too, because I have to have it done by May 15th, I think.
And we've got that, that's one of those things that we've got some partners like Holly and gosh, there's a list of them that have been approved, Pillar to Post, 2 or 3 others that have been approved for CEs that we probably need to make it a day or two that's easier for you guys. I know some of them do. I know Chris Giles does Zoom. There's other ones that bring lunch in. So we need to button that up this week so that maybe you guys can get help getting your stuff done that you want to get done.
Meetings organize this more too.
Maybe another one. Yeah.
They don't teach you, but they work with.
Yeah. Gotcha. We've got about 5 of them, and we just kind of need to line out. Let's jump back on that.
Sean, you're up.
Okay, so been working on my website. I've almost got that completely switched over and made my way. And I also have become a sponsor for my zip code in Nextdoor. It costs me about $99 a month, but it touches everyone in the 63139 zip code, which is about 3,000 people every month. And it does an automatic post of why I like this area and things, and really gets people to like re-engage with you. So that's kind of what I've started doing lately.
How long have you been on that program?
I just started it last week, so it's not
cool. I'd love to get your thoughts after 30 and 60 days.
Yeah.
See what your thoughts are. Sounds really good. I like it. I mean, that's Lynn is saying it's only a month-to-month contract. Is that correct, Sean?
Yes, you can cancel anytime. So cancel anytime, and it's all automatic. I mean, you can go in there and do more, but they will automatically post and do things for you. So
nice. I love it. How are you doing on your time management, Sean?
Better. Still not where I want to be, but definitely better. Really setting a time clock and an alarm clock, saying I'm going to work on this for 2 hours and then go to the next thing, and really just kind of setting everything else aside. Not looking at the phone, not answering the phone for an hour or so, unless it's something super important, and just kind of going with that. So it's getting better.
Good, good. You know, that's key, guys. Time management and accountability are the two top things that we need to figure out how to work when you're busy and when you're not busy, right? Still needs to be moving forward. Julia. Have I told you, Julia, that every time I say your name, I always want to say Julia. Remember from that movie, The Wedding Singer? Julia.
You don't want to know how much I heard that in middle school. It was horrible. I was Julia Gulia through like 5th and 6th grade, so.
I'll make sure not to bring it up to you, but every time I say your name, I always, like I have to stop myself from saying this.
That's okay. I use it as my username for a lot of things, so.
All right, Julia, you're on deck. What have you done so far? Obviously, as the course has been taking on, you know, we've going on with our course. What have you implemented in your business strategies? What have you modified, or if you haven't done anything, well, let's talk about that too.
Okay. Well, I have a little list here. So social media has been my biggest thing to work on. I just work on content. One of my goals with that is to create a Facebook group. I'm not sure which direction I want to go with it yet, but just something that can get people like, you know, I want to be the go-to person for, I was thinking a first-time home buyer group maybe, but I'm still thinking about it, gathering materials so that it's ready to go. Another thing I'm working on is mailings. I have a meeting with Caitlin with USA Mortgage. Well, I haven't scheduled it yet, but we're going to meet sometime, hopefully next week, to talk about what they offer for their marketing and mailings. Because like Brent was saying, that's definitely something I want to take advantage of. I want people in my neighborhood to know who I am and to not go with other agents. You know, it is a bummer whenever you see a house down the road that got listed with somebody else, but it's also a wake-up call.
Yeah, sure.
Other thing, just trying to get more involved with my son's school. Next week, they're doing like donations for families that need things. So I'm going to put out something on social media, letting people know if they want to participate. You know, I'll be donating things myself, so you can drop them off with me. Open houses, I always do those for Sarah. So that's one. And then Nextdoor, I use Nextdoor too. I don't pay for the advertising, but I do have a group on there and I share a lot of real estate stuff. And then I share it out to the whole Nextdoor community so that everybody can see it.
Julia, you do a really nice job too when you do the open house. You actually do the video and the walkthrough. And I think I know Sean, you do that, and there's others, but you're consistent with that. And that's a really smart thing to do.
It's great engagement. Yeah. She gets great engagement, which is great. Julie, I will say your social media has been definitely, I mean, it's been going awesome. I mean, you got great content, great information out there. 2 ideas for your groups. And I was just thinking about this when you were mentioning us. How about a group that, you know, you tell people where the yard sales are going to, we're in that type of, we're coming into that type of season where people are going to start doing yard sales. A lot of people go on social media wondering where the yard sales are at. Maybe you could be the go-to on where to tell people, you know, where the yard sales are going to be at. And then on your header, on your main thing on that group, you can put, you know, Julia, you know, Remax Gold, Julia Real Estate Agent, however you want to put it, but you can definitely promote and market yourself in that manner. The other thing besides the yard sales, I find it to be that there's a lot of people always looking for nonprofit organizations to like donate stuff to, maybe be the go-to person to be able to, a group to be able to answer questions on what foundations need what, or what organizations would need and needs. And you'll get a lot of engagement there because people are always looking to donate stuff, you know, or maybe locations to Goodwill. Anything that gives information mainly in those groups are very important, more so than just saying, hey, I want to start a real estate first-time home buyer. you won't get that much engagement. They're gonna look at that
Yeah.
group as, oh man, that's just a marketing employee, you know, that's just trying to get your name. Literally give them information that is needed. Like when you find something in that people need to know, you really start developing that group and more, and people start, you know, going into it because, oh, I go to a group, I'm involved in a group to help around my foundation. So if I need to donate anything, food or whatever, I go there and I can look up for the nearest, you know, nonprofit center or yard sales. This is that time of year. People want to know where the yard sales are. Hey, this is going to be your group where you can find where all the local yard sales are going to be within your South County area, whatever, you know, whatever area you're marketing to, right? It's going to take a little work to man it, but that's what you want. You want to be able to engage and give information out there that's going to grab traction and get members in there. And then you obviously threw your little plugs throughout that. Once you build up a decent group, then you start throwing some plugs, you know, oh, hey, I got a house that I'm gonna be putting up on the market, possible yard sale, whatever. I mean, you never know, something like that.
Yeah.
But engagement is crucial. So just some food for thought. But as far as what you've done and what you've been engaging in and that's awesome. We appreciate it. And that's the key here, guys. We can talk about this until we're blue in the face. But if we're not making, you know, we're not taking action steps for this, then the reality is we're just kind of, we're talking about it, but we're not really committing to it. So, you know, anybody else? I see Molly and Lexi here, but I don't, you know, I think obviously you guys are in just for the awareness of it. So any questions so far? Anybody at the table want to bring anything up of what we discussed? Next meeting, so we're going to have a little homework today, and it's not going to be challenging, okay? It's not. Okay. The only thing I ask, okay, for next meeting is to come back and let me know how you benefited by working off an actual schedule. Now, let me rephrase that again. How you benefited, which means you have to do it. Because if you didn't benefit, that means you still had to do it, right? And you can say, look, it didn't benefit me. I wrote it down and whatever. Or I wrote it down and I stuck to my guns and I followed my schedule. And here's my schedule, Jose. On Monday I did this, Tuesday I did that. I want to know that there's some accountability on moving the ball forward, guys. Right? We talked earlier, for those of you that jumped on late, we talked earlier, Kay is having a crazy, awesome past weekend and week where she's bringing in, you know, multiple contracts, she's dealing with multiple listings, she's dealing with multiple buyers. But then we asked about her market reports and she's like, well, you know, everything was going great until I got busy and I kind of haven't had really time into continuing what's working, right? She didn't continue that process of sending out those market reports. So this is reason why we want to say, look, yeah, we want to get to the point where we're busy, but we also don't want to get to the point where we're forgetting to cultivate our business while we're busy. Does that make sense, guys? Got to keep pushing the ball forward, guys. Keep moving it. All right, that's it, guys. That's what I have. Anybody have any questions or anybody have any comments? Let me know. All right, we'll see you guys on the next one. You guys have accountability schedules. All right. We'll talk soon. Take care, guys. See ya.
Thank you.
Yes.